Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Stop Motion Anime Reviews. I'm Anime, and today we're going to be taking a look at this DC Collectibles Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2-pack Batman and Leonardo figure. You can find this at your local GameStop. It's exclusive to that. And like usual, let's take a look at the outside of the box, and then we'll get into the figures and see what this is all about. So let's get started. So this is based on the Warner Brothers Nickelodeon Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon film that came out a couple of months ago. And it's a cartoon movie that is kind of aimed more at a younger audience. So if you're the type that just hates stuff that's aimed at kids, that is made for kids, then you'll probably hate this. But if you're the type of person who still has that inner child in you, that inner 6-year-old inside of you, then it'll be fine. I saw it. I thought it was fine for what it is. I understood the target audience they were aiming at. So as long as you understand that, maybe you'll like it. I just thought it was cool to have a representation on film of finally having Batman and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles team up. So let me stop rambling so we can get on with this overview review. So on the front of the box, you have this nice big window with a little bit of a curve on the right side. You can see the two figures in the box with the accessories they come with. So I guess it's display ready if you just want to keep them like this. It's got this little only at GameStop icon in the corner that you can't peel off because it's not a sticker. I wish you could, but you can't. It says it has 22 pieces, the DC Collectibles icon, Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles logo on the left bottom, and it says it's Batman Leonardo if you didn't know who these were. Now turning it to the side, there's really nothing here. It's just a portion of the open window that curves. Turning it to the back, you can see it's got this read up in the upper right corner. And you can also see the other figures that comes in this wave so far. Only Batman and Leo and Raph and Robin have come out. The other ones are coming out later throughout the year. Turning it to the other side of the box, you can see it credits the two artists responsible for the sculpt of these two figures. So we have Paul Harding, who sculpted Batman, and Jonathan Matthews, who sculpted Leonardo. On the top of the box, you just have that Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles logo. And on the bottom, you can see this barcode for this figure, the Nickelodeon logo, and an address for DC. And here are the two figures out of the box, but still in the plastic. And as you can see, the accessories are to the sides of both of them. And this is just to see how everything's laid out, and we'll take this all apart and get a closer look at everything. Here are the two figures out of the package, and aesthetically, these are two really nice looking figures. I really love the way they look, but as action figures, they have a lot of issues, and we'll go over all the issues they have, just so you know. But if you're a fan of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, if you're a fan of Batman, you'll probably love these figures. If you're not really into these franchises and you're just a fan of collecting cool action figures, these two figures might actually frustrate you. So let's just kind of get into it, and let's start off with the accessories they come with. So taking a look at the accessories that comes with Leo, other than the two fist hands he comes with two extra sets of hands. So he comes with these two prayer hands on the bottom. They're kind of more like open. They look like prayer hands, or I guess you can use them to kind of have the open hand part hold the pizza accessory he also comes with. And he also comes with these two gripping hands to hold the two katanas. But you want to be careful about putting them in the hands because everything is just a little bit stiff, a little bit brittle, and you don't want to end up breaking the swords. So just be careful when you're wedging them in. And he also comes with his scabbard that actually doesn't attach to the back like it would traditionally would, but it actually attaches to the side of his belt like a samurai would wear. So taking a look at the Batman accessories, other than the two fist hands that already come on the figure as well, he comes with 3 sets of other hands. He has these wider gripping hands that allow him to grip the grappling hook accessory. He's got Batarang throwing hands, so you can wedge the Batarang into a hole between the middle of his hand, between his fingers. And he's also got these kind of more close gripping hands that allow him to hold on to that bat communicator. And he also comes with these hooks for the grappling hook, one that's open, one that's closed. He's got a Batarang, and he's got a slice of pizza and a little Batman communicator. So just so you can see how the accessories fit into his hands, here's his Batarang inside of his hand. It just kind of wedges into the fingers. And here's the grappling hook device in his hand, and it kind of fits in there a little loose, but it's not going to fall out or anything. And here's the Batman communicator device, and this is a little stiff and a little hard to get in, but once it's in, it's in. So just taking a closer look at these figures, they're really cool looking figures. Aesthetically, like I said, they're really pleasing to look at. I just like the really blocky nature of these figures. That really accentuates the cartoony nature of them. As you can see, the headband is kind of glued on. It's like it's not ported in or anything, so you can't really move it out of position or anything. So it kind of just sits on this side. If you kind of turn the head to this side, it kind of looks funny because it's just kind of sitting out there. I like how they implemented that L into his belt. It's just kind of like it's like a blue ribbon or something, a blue part of his bandana that's tied there. But you can see it's really blocky. It's like how it's really angular, and that's kind of how like cartoons are done. And yeah, I like you see this plate shield. I don't know. It should be placed on this side because it kind of sticks out like that. But yeah, everything's just has this nice blocky nature that is just like really cartoon looking, and I really like that. Oh, he's got a really soft belt. The shell is actually made of a softer material. The front and the back is kind of more soft. And yeah, he's got the same pattern on his knees, but yeah, it's done better than the elbow. It doesn't stick out all weird or anything. And just look at those thighs. I just like this really angular way everything looks. It's just really cool. So looking at Batman, as you can see, he's got this really nice chin. I mean, look at that chin. It's that Batman chin, iconic chin. You got this nice cloth cape. It feels really nice, really soft. I don't know what this material is, but it's actually quite dense, really heavy. And I don't know what this is. It feels like they spilled something on it or something in the factory. So he's not as clean as Leo. Seems to be some sort of discrepancies on his suit. Man, these are really hard. It's stiff. Like I said, everything is rather stiff on these things. The points are rather sharp on things, but I mean, it doesn't really have much shading or details or anything. They've got some lines drawn in here and there, so it's rather simplistic figure. It's actually the way it's sculpted, the cartoony, blocky nature, just like the Leo figure, that makes it look really nice. So taking a look at the height of these figures, you can see that Leo stands at just about 5.5 inches, which makes him about 5 feet. 5 feet 6 inches if this is a 1/12 scale. If this is 1/10, then that makes him over 6 feet tall. So I don't think this is 1/10. So I'm pretty sure this is 1/12 scale. So taking a look at Batman's height, you can see that he scales at about 6 and 9/16 of an inch, which makes him about 6 feet 7.5, I think, which makes him really tall. I mean, this is a really tall Bruce Wayne or Batman figure. I thought he was supposed to be around 6'3" or something. This is really tall. I mean, just imagine if you just saw a dude who's like 6 feet 7 in a bat outfit. I mean, you'd be terrified. So yeah, this is a very intimidating tall Batman figure, but that's cool, I guess. So measuring out Leo's weight, he weighs in at about 119 grams. So if you scale that up to kilograms, that makes him about 262 pounds. So he's a jacked dude. So taking a look at Batman here, you can see that he weighs in just about 108 grams. So if you scale that up, that makes him about 238 pounds. So the scales on these figures are actually pretty good. I mean, they're about like a correct size. I would say they're about good enough. But the weight is spot on as well. So that's pretty cool. I mean, these are some massive, huge guys. So going over the articulation, starting with Leo, the problem with these figures is that they practically have no head articulation, so he can barely look down, if you even call it that. And it has the same problem. I mean, he can look up a little further, but I feel like it's just me fighting against the peg that the head is on. And he does have 360-degree rotation, so I guess that's a plus there. So he can hinge at the shoulder out almost 90. It's pretty good. And he can also rotate 360 on that shoulder joint. He can rotate 360 at the elbow. He's got wrist articulation that allows him to hinge it in and out. And you can also change that angle. So you can change that if you want to change the direction of the hinge. And it also rotates 360 around that wrist. Now what's interesting is that Leo actually has kind of like a diaphragm cut. It's actually low, like more near the abdomen, but it allows him to shift like left and right. He can't move forwards and backwards due to his soft shell and hard shell, but it does allow him to have a little bit of mobility to move left and right. Now Leo can do these splits completely all the way, and that's awesome because he's got this He's got this T-bar, this kind of barbell joint inside that allows him to just split his legs all the way. He can kick his legs forwards and backwards at an extreme amount, practically almost doing the splits that way, so that's excellent there too. He also has double jointed knees that work and look just fine. This is how the elbows kind of should have been. Instead of having the kind of armor plate kind of attached or as part of the upper arm, it just looks really awkward having it kind of stick out when it bends. This is how it should have been, because this looks perfect, and I don't know why they couldn't have done that up there. But this is kind of the thing, is that like the articulation on the lower half is excellent. It's everything else above that just doesn't make any sense. And at his ankle, they can't hinge forward very much, but they hinge all the way back. And he does have excellent ankle rockers, but he doesn't have any peg holes on either side of the foot. Now, going over the articulation of Batman, I took his cape off so you can see better. It is a little better on the top. As you can see, he does bend his head down a little better, and he can look up a little further, but it does create a gap in between. It's not as noticeable with the cape. And he also has 360-degree rotation. And he does have a little bit of head wobble as well. His arms hinge out laterally at a fair range, and he's also got a diaphragm cut that allows him to actually rotate on that joint. He can't really bend forward or backwards on that diaphragm joint. It just looks that way in the video because his waist swivel joint is actually starting to come off. And about that waist swivel joint, he does have a little bit of mobility at that joint as well. So going back to his arms, he can rotate 360 at the shoulder and at the elbow and at the wrist. And just like I mentioned with Leo about the upper articulation having issues, this is where you can kind of see them, because he can bend his elbow in almost 90, but he leaves this ugly joint. It's like the same problem, except he doesn't even have shoulder pads, where his elbow is just kind of sticking out there in this kind of ugly way. I mean, they could have done it better. He does have articulation at the wrist, so he can hinge forwards and backwards, and you can change that position and change the angle of articulation as well. He can do the splits, not quite as far as Leo, but that's pretty good. It's not like it's bad or anything. And he can also kick forwards and kick backwards on his leg joints pretty well, actually. So this is where everything starts to look better again. It's the same kind of thing with the Leo figure. The articulation on the bottom half is just way better than the articulation on the top half. And he's got excellent double jointed knees that bends pretty much almost all the way. And his feet can kick forward just a little, and it can kick back all the way, but it does have that gap in between. And his ankle rockers or ankle pivot are unobstructed, so he can actually just rotate his entire feet all around either side. And here are some size comparisons, and here we have Marvel Legends Moon Knight figure, so pretty much Marvel's version of Batman. And as you can see, if this is a 1/12 scaled line, Batman is really tall. I mean, he just towers over all the Marvel Legends figures. So I don't quite know if this is supposed to be 1/12. I think it is, because otherwise he's too short. So and the turtles are too tall. So it's just interesting. It kind of sits in between 6-inch, 7-inch scale line. And here we have Batman compared to another Marvel Legends figure. Here we have Daredevil, and I always thought Daredevil was a little bit more Batman than even Batman, because he's blind. He's basically a blind bat. So I always thought that was kind of funny, and he's got an interesting kind of connection in history to the Ninja Turtles as well. So, but as you can see, yeah, like Batman just towers over all the Marvel Legends figures. And just for another size comparison, I have my Marvel Select Netflix Cinematic Universe Daredevil, and as you can see, this is a 7-inch line. And this is actually a short figure in the 7-inch line. And as you can see, he stands just a little taller than Batman. So I don't think Batman is in this scale. I don't think Batman is a 7-inch line scale. But he is tall for a 6-inch scale. And just to compare Leo to some other turtle figures I have, here I have the NECA 80s version of the cartoon figures. And, you know, they're about the same height. They're actually about the same height. I think the NECA one might be a smidge taller, but you can't really tell. They're about the same height, but you can totally see the design difference. I mean, the new turtles have much smaller heads and just huge forearms and huge legs. So almost like Mega Man style. And the old 80s turtle have big, huge, expressive faces and really tiny limbs and stuff. And, you know, I grew up with the 80s ones, so I love the 80s ones. But I think these ones look cool too. And I like the design choice. But you can also see that the newer turtles are a lot more matte looking than the older turtles. The colors are a little bit more bright. The NECA ones are a little bit more duller, but the NECA turtle is a little bit more glossier. And here he is compared to the NECA San Diego Comic-Con exclusive late 80s, early 90s movie Turtles, or at least Turtle, because we have here Leo, who happens to be the best turtle, am I right? Well, at least he's my favorite turtle. And as you can see, this is a 7-inch scale line, so he's a lot taller. So I do believe this is supposed to be a 1/12 scale line. It's just that Batman just seems really tall for a 6-inch scale line, but I guess he would be quite short in a 1/10 scale line. So thanks for checking out my overview slash review of this Leonardo Batman 2-pack figure. If I had to give an Anthony's custom style score to the articulation, I would give it about a 6, because I mean, I'm just kind of disappointed with the upper half of these figures. I don't like that they really have no articulation in the head other than just rotating, and I just don't like that ugly protruding elbow from both of them. I just don't understand how the articulation is so bad on the upper half but excellent on the bottom half. It just makes no sense. Like I said, aesthetically, I love these figures. I'm a big Turtle fan. I'm a big Batman fan, and I just think that these are really nice looking figures. They're not the best articulated figures. You can't really do the most dynamic poses. They've got a lot of restrictions. They're a bit rough, a bit tough, a bit hard, and a bit brittle, so you've got to be careful with them. But I think that for anybody who's a big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Batman fan, you'll love these figures, and I can't wait to get the rest of them, actually. But let me know what you guys think. Are you guys going to pick these guys up? Are you guys kind of disappointed in these? I can see it going either way. I mean, I wouldn't blame you if you just hated these figures. But like I said, Leo also is my favorite turtle, so I'm glad I have this set. I'm actually looking forward to getting the rest of the set, because I think they'll just all look really cool together. But yeah, I just wish it was done a little better. I already have the Damian Wayne, Robin, and Raph figures as well, so I'll be taking a look at those too. Just make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my content, and make sure to like these videos because it really helps me out. So, thanks for just checking these out, and I'll see you guys later. Thanks a lot.